Welcome again to Cottage Talk. I am Russ Goldman. This is our preview of Fulham's match today against Liverpool at Anfield. I'm going to go through a very quick show, maybe about 15 minutes previewing the match. I generally try to do it a day before, but my schedule did not allow me to do it before that, so I am doing it today. I also want to mention that I will be doing many more shows starting this summer once again. I just have not been able to keep up the pace that I did several months ago when I was doing a show each and every day about Fulham. I plan on doing it next season. So starting this summer, you will see many more episodes of Cottage Talk. I do plan on doing them each and every day. The reason being is that you showed me, the listeners and people who watch Cottage Talk, that you want content on Fulham each and every day. So I am going to give that to you along with our co-host starting again this summer. Just haven't been able to do it lately, but I am going to get back in the groove and I'm going to be giving you content on Fulham on a regular basis, just like I did in January and February. And thank you, everyone who watched and listened to Cottage Talk that helped me make that decision. You want content? We're going to give it to you. Okay, very good. So let's get to talking about this match. And it's an interesting time for Fulham because I will be talking about, unfortunately, the injuries that Fulham have been dealt recently. And it does affect, I think, this upcoming match. I think Fulham will be ready to play. They don't play with any fear, so they'll go to Anfield feeling that, believe it or not, that they can win this match. And I understand that. But let's get going, and I'm going to just share just more thoughts on the match. And I actually said this prior. If Fulham did not get the injuries to Tim Ream and Andres Pereira, like what happened in the last match, I'd be feeling much more confident going into this match against Liverpool. I actually really penciled this match as one that Fulham could potentially win. I was looking at it because I just thought that Fulham match up fairly well against Liverpool. So I thought this was a match that we could really look at as a potential match that Fulham could get all 3 points. We'll see how it all plays out today. But I know that Fulham will come to play. They proved that against Man City. If you can play that way against Manchester City, you can certainly play that on the road against Liverpool. They played that throughout the season. They will go to Liverpool with the idea that they can win, and they will try to play on the front foot. So it'll be fascinating to see how this all plays out at Anfield today. So before we talk about more about this match individually, when we look at the match, let's look at the first match in the season. What can we learn from the first match when Fulham started their season at Craven Cottage against Liverpool? Couple things. Fulham are missing a few players from that first match. We're talking about Pereira, Ream, and of course, Alexander Mitrovic. All three had a role in this draw. But what you also saw, I think the big thing we can learn is that Fulham made a statement in that first match of the season that they were going to play on the front foot without fear, that it didn't matter who the opponent was, that they were going to play this way. It's Marco Silva's way. And that has really played out throughout the entire season. That's one of the main things we took out of this, that I took out of this, was that Fulham were going to have a different approach this time in the Premier League. In 2018, I could say that there was a similar approach under Slavisa, but defensively, it was very different. It was extremely different. It was more possession-based play. This is still possession-based play, but there's a lot of pressing involved. There's a very high work rate involved to play Marco's style. Maybe that's why we're seeing a little bit of a drop-off in results. You obviously have the suspension and injuries. It's kind of catching up to Fulham a bit. But the approach has never changed from this first match against Liverpool. They've not changed it at all. Have they tweaked formations, certain situations? Of course. But the style of play has stayed true from this match against Liverpool. That's one of the things that I took out of this first match. And I think Liverpool learned something from Fulham there, that it was going to be a different side they were going to be facing. I think they know that going into this upcoming match. This is not the Fulham team under Jokanovic, under Ranieri, Parker. Certainly not the team that they saw 2 seasons ago under Parker. This is the team that they saw with Marco Silva at the beginning of the season. So Klopp will have his team ready, but Marco Silva will be ready. Major thing we got out of this is Fulham made a statement that they were going to play with no fear. And it played out. And that's why a big part of the reason why Fulham are 10th is Marco Silva's approach and the way the players have responded to it. They have bought in. Hook, line, and sinker. And that's not going to change even with the injuries. So now let's talk about the injuries going into this match. And what's fascinating about Fulham, that's different for me about Fulham than years past. Injuries, key injuries that we saw in the last match against Man City. Tim Ream goes out. And you're thinking, how are Fulham going to respond to that? Well, Issa Diop comes in. He's not Tim Ream, but he does the job. He gets the job done. And I'm just going to say it. It just didn't seem like much had changed. Diop is a different player than Ream, but the train kept rolling. The bigger one was going to be later on in the match. They lost Andres Pereira, who was pretty much very vital to how Fulham play, especially the way they press, set pieces. He's extremely important. But you do have a player in Tom Kearney that can step in, different type of player, just like the Ream situation with Diop, different player. But I thought Tom Kearney played fantastic against Man City. I expect him to have a very good role today against Liverpool. Very different of how he plays from Pereira, but he is very good on set pieces. He'll be excellent today. I truly believe that. And I think he is going to play a part in how Fulham play and whichever way this match goes. I think how Tom Kearney plays, Fulham will play in this match. I think he's going to be that important. And I have full faith in Tom Kearney. Fulham can overcome these injuries. It's just going to be a little bit different of how they play. I could go all the way back and say I was concerned about how Fulham would play with Pereira, with Fabio Carvalho not being there. How would Pereira play? Well, he plays differently than Fabio, but he made the role his own. Tom Kearney will make the role his own, and Fulham will be able to adapt to how he plays. Passing will be crisp. He'll look for his teammates. He'll set up the play. I think Fulham are going to be fine with Tom Kearney and Issa Diop, the replacements of Ream and Pereira. These are significant injuries. They're both out for the season. Thankfully, Fulham have 2 players that can step in and do a job. It was also suggested to me that maybe we might see Shane Duffy instead of Issa Diop. Possibly, but I think you're going to see Diop in this match. And to be honest with you, I'm confident with both players. I'm confident with Tom Kearney and Issa Diop being able to not fill the boots of these 2 players, but being able to do a job. I think they both can do that. Something else from the presser is Willian is still a doubt for this match. I would be surprised if he plays. I would like it if he plays. I think Fulham could really use him against Liverpool. We shall see. If he plays, if he can start, that would be a huge boost to Fulham. It would be a massive boost for Fulham. I'm just not counting on him. I'm hoping that we see him in this match, but we shall see. If he plays, that's a huge boost for Fulham Football Club against Liverpool. I think he would be massive against Liverpool. We shall see. Major doubt for this match. Okay, coming up next to end this show, I'm going to share with you how I think Fulham can win this match, the starting 11, and my prediction for the match. Okay, so how can Fulham beat Liverpool? And I've watched a lot of matches with Liverpool, and they have so many talented players. I'm going to say this right now. A key player in this match for me is going to be Jedi, Anthony Robinson. If he can shut down Mo Salah like he did in the first match, I think Fulham have a shot here. He is going to be key along with Kenny Tete on the other side. The fullbacks, the play of the fullbacks can really dictate how Fulham are going to play. The interesting part with how will they play? Will they be able to press Liverpool without Mitro, without Pereira? I'm not sure. Just not sure if they will be able to do that. But I do know that Fulham will play with no fear. So I expect Fulham to play on the front foot just like they always do. They're not going to sit back. They just don't do that. They might be forced to a little bit by Liverpool, but I think they'll be aggressive. The question is, can they do what they did in the first match without those players? I just don't know if they can get it done. We'll find out at Anfield tonight. Okay, so now let's talk about the starting 11. And this is what I think Marco's going to do. This is my prediction for the starting 11, and then I'll share my prediction for the match. So I'm going to go with Bernd Leno as your goalkeeper, Kenny Tete as your right back, Anthony Robinson as your left back. Center back pairing, I am going to go with Tosin and Diop. In the middle, I'm going to go with João Palhinha, Harrison Reed, Tom Kearney. On the left, I am going to go Bobby Decordova-Reid. On the right, I'm going Harry Wilson. And yes, I am going to go Carlos Vinicius up front. That's what I'm going to go with. He might go differently. He might go Dan James up front. Let's see how this all plays out. But Carlos Vinicius, I thought, played well in the last match. I say give him another run out. I've been down on Carlos Vinicius, but if a player proves me wrong, I'm happy to say it. Give him another run out. But I would not be surprised if he ends up going with Dan James. He might also go with Manor Solomon as your winger on the left instead of Bobby Decordova-Reid. There are some options, but that's the starting 11 that I think Marco is going to go with. Finally, to end this quick show of Cottage Talk, I'm going to share my prediction. I'm actually going to go with the prediction from WhoScored.com. They have 2-0 to Liverpool. I'm going to go with that same result. I'm going to say Liverpool are going to win this match 2-0. But I will say this. Fulham will not play with fear. There will be no fear in how Fulham play. The approach will not change with all these players being out. They will give it a go. They're going to go for it. And I'm just going to say I would not rule anything out with Fulham Football Club. But with all the injuries, with the Mitro suspension, I can't go with Fulham getting anything at Anfield. That's just my personal thoughts. That's why I'm going with a 2-0 victory for Liverpool. And I'm asking the Fulham players, Marco Silva, prove me wrong, win this match, which would make me very happy, extremely happy, and the Fulham supporters happy. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Please do leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Someone left a nice review lately, and I really appreciate that. Please keep sharing your reviews. Believe it or not, the reviews help other Fulham supporters find us because we get higher up the ranking. So please do leave us a review, a rating. All that helps. And please do subscribe on our YouTube channel. Certainly want to build that up as much as possible. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. My name is Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk, now part of the talkSPORT Fan Network.